Oh, well, hi to hello, guys. Hi to hello. Lester here. And thank you for joining me on my third live of the day. You heard me right. I've been live 3 times. This is my third time to go live. But what else are you going to do? It's Christmas, guys. It's Christmas. And I'm about to have dinner. And I'd rather have dinner with you all than to have it alone. Okay. And I'm actually heating up my dinner in that microwave right over there. And whenever it's ready, then we'll talk all about it. Okay. But I'm going to go ahead and turn my phone ringer off, I think. And then I've been texting back and forth with Jamie. Let me go ahead and just kind of fill you in on what's going on. Fireworks. Now, they're not as bad here as they are in Plum Grove. I can promise you that. But it's not pleasant. And I'm a little bit torn between a rock and a hard place because I have dogs at both properties. I also have animals at both properties. The fireworks at the JL are not as bad as they are here at Longhorn Lester's. But like I said, I don't feel sorry for myself. I feel a whole lot worse for the folks over in Plum Grove. They're the ones who are really putting up with it tonight. I feel so bad for them. There's the microwave. Let me go ahead and grab that, please. I'll be right back. Good dogs. Okay. I'm going to set this right here. I'll be right back. Okay. I need to get one of these. I'll take all 3 of those and possibly I might need some. Where is my Tabasco? Okay, guys. All right. We're going to get everything set up here, guys. We're about to get it all set up here. And we're going to have dinner, okay? There's my Propel. There's my Tabasco. There's my Gumbo. Let me take that Gumbo and put it to a bit nicer bowl, which might be nice. Make it look a little bit more attractive and presentable to you alls. All right. Well, that filled that bowl up. I'll tell you what. Okay, there we go. All right, guys. Here we go. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you guys for being here. Okay. I never want to do anything without thanking you guys for being here. And then secondly, I am having a bowl of gumbo. This over here was something that Fire Chief Chris made today for their Christmas dinner. And he invited me to swing by and have some. And then he also gave me a to-go plate. And then he also asked me, would I be willing to include his gumbo in the official gumbo tour that I did 2 weeks ago? And I says, absolutely. I says, but I'm going to tell you right now, bud. I says, I'm not going to just give you the win because you are who you are. And he goes, no, I want the honest truth. So here I sit in front of you all, and we're about to go ahead and give Fire Chief Chris what he asked for, a taste of gumbo. We'll talk about the consistency, the color, and all of the things. Now, remember, this is only based on my opinion. I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but I will say this. Moderators, you don't have to be here, ladies. You're so darn sweet to me. And you want to keep things Christian in the chat. I totally get that, and save some room for Jesus. But I really want you to know that if you got something else going on, by all means, you can go do what you want to get done. That's absolutely fine. Okay. All right. So first things first, I will say that the gumbo, in my opinion, is a little bit runny. I like a really thick gumbo. And so when I just look at the consistency of the gumbo alone, I don't know if you all would agree or not, and everyone may have a difference of opinion, but the gumbo is, to me, a little bit runny. It's a little bit runny, okay? And so we'll start off with that over there. And so I don't know if there's an official guide to how gumbo should be as far as consistency goes, but most people, I think that most people would prefer their gumbo, and it's all about the roux. I don't know much about it. I've never made gumbo, but it's all about the roux. Okay. So here goes our first taste together. It's going to be hot. So it is a seafood gumbo as well. So there's not going to be, there may be some sausage in here, but there's not going to be a whole lot. We'll see. I see shrimp on top. I also see okra and, of course, rice. Here we go. So it's good. Okay. It's good. I've had gumbo that I did not like. I like this gumbo. I like it. I don't think that it is as shaka pow wow, shaka pow wow. You want that to happen inside your mouth. And I don't really get that pow, that bang from it. I don't know exactly what it's missing or what people normally put to give it that shebang. But I would like to have like a burst of flavor when I put it to my mouth. And then remember that when I was in New Orleans, I had eaten gumbo 7 days in a row. So there towards the end, it really had to be good so that I could kind of taste the differences between all the different gumbos. Let's try another bite. It's good. It's good. But I am going to go ahead and add a little bit of my own shebang. I will add a little bit of my own shebang. I don't know if Fire Chief Chris and Wendy like if they have a lot of Cajun seasonings, and that may be what it's missing, some Cajun seasoning. I don't know. But I just added some Tabasco sauce. So I will spice it up a little bit with that. All right. But it is good. That right there is what it needed. Now, there was only a couple of places where I added Tabasco sauce when I was in New Orleans. And most of them I never had to. It already had enough kick, enough burst of flavor to where I didn't even have to ask for Tabasco sauce. But there were several, even in Louisiana, both Creole and Cajun gumbos that I had, where I actually asked for Tabasco sauce to give it a little bit more kick. All right. It's really good. I'm going to go and have me a sip of water. So I don't think that you understand what I'm doing here. I'm not trying to be critical of a gift. It's a meal. It's a nice, warm meal. And I'm very blessed to have been invited over. But I was asked to critique it. And I'm like, hold on a minute. You want me to critique this gumbo and put it up against some of those really nice restaurants that I ate it over in Louisiana? And the answer was yes, please. So there's somebody, maybe right now, I don't think he's watching right now. He's probably watching the football game, but with friends. But I guarantee you at some point he'll watch the video and he's going to want to know. And I'll say that, yeah, I think it's really good. The shrimp is delicious. It's not too chewy. The rice is wonderful. And the gumbo tastes good. It tastes good. And you guys know me. I'm going to drink every bite of this. As soon as I'm done with all of the things inside of it, the solids, I'm going to simply drink the entire contents of this bowl. All right. I will. And then a lot of folks will dip crackers and they want bread and things like that with theirs. I don't. I just like mine out of a spoon. That's my own preference. I have bread right here. There's crackers in the pantry, but that's just not my thing. Merry Christmas, guys. Merry Christmas. Yes, Merry Christmas. Jamie's not here. And then I wanted to let the dogs in. It's so loud out that Pat and Dave let us know that the calves were nervous. The dogs, I'm sure, were nervous. And so I came over to let the dogs in and make sure the calves were okay. The goats and everybody seems to be fine. Mr. George is pacing the fence, but I think he's going to be okay. I went out and dropped off extra food just to sometimes reassure everybody that it's all going to be okay. But, and it's not, trust me, I don't want you all to think that we're just being bombarded with some kind of fireworks show. It's not as bad as it's been in the past. There was one year that Pat and Dave had their grandkids over and they had fireworks. And tell you what, they went all out. And you can't tell somebody no. They were kind to us to let us know that they were going to have fireworks with the kids. And we're like, oh, okay. Well, thanks for letting us know. We'll try to keep everybody calm down. And no, but these fireworks stands open. They opened a couple of days ago and they're on every corner. And people can stop and buy fireworks. And I'm guessing if you're outside of the city limits, in most cities, you're able to pop those things off however you like to. So it can get really loud, guys. And the year that Pat and Dave's grandkids did them, they were right next door, and our animals were just, they were beside themselves. It was a really hard night. Luckily, they only did them for a couple of hours. But they're in Plum Grove. Those guys are going to pop fireworks all night. I'm hoping that mom and dad will not let Ben pop them. Sometimes you have to put your foot down. And, but I think Ben is the only person on Morrow Hill who loves fireworks. He will save his money to buy fireworks. And every chance he has to set some off, he will. Yeah, yeah, they're really bad in Plum Grove. If talking on the phone, you could just hear them in the background. It's like, and it's going to get worse, guys. Today is bad, Christmas, but it's going to be a whole lot worse come New Year's. So I really feel bad for the animals over there. So what did you guys do for Christmas today? Anyone have any big celebrations you want to talk about? Anything fun? it doesn't always have to be about me. It can be about you too. I got a couple of messages today from people who were not celebrating because they were ill or had no family in town. So a lot of people over here, quiet day at home. Someone else cleaned the house. I can't read the names. I see some of the comments. Yeah. Someone says fireworks begin to go off on Tuesday when the fireworks stands open. So yesterday was Tuesday. I think that ours had been going off earlier than that. I don't know for sure what day I heard them first, but off in the distance, and tonight's pretty bad. So like you guys had, looks like some of you guys had a pretty good time today. Home with kids. It was a good day. Well, that's wonderful. I drove to Plum Grove and dropped off Dad's his banana pudding. And then I worked on a couple of things over at the JL. I'm going to grab a pair of glasses so I can read every comment, not just have to keep straining. I'm going to keep eating on this. Who knows where my glasses are at? Which of y'all have my glasses? It's not my favorite pair of glasses, but it'll have to work. There we go. Oh, now I can see. So Kings says, I enjoy a quiet and peaceful time. We do not do gifting. We already have what we need. As individuals, we give to others. That's nice. That's the way it should be, I think. How many pairs were in the truck? A lot. A whole lot. Oh, no. Robin was been craving banana pudding all day after watching me make some this morning. Oh, no. Oh, no. A quiet day for Chris McKenzie. I'm running out of substance here. Well, thank you. She says, I watched Longhorn Lester videos and Suits to Boot videos all day. Thank you, Mr. Lester, for making my day enjoyable. That's very sweet of you. 71 degrees in Colorado today. It broke a record from 1855. Guys, I'm telling you something. I don't care if you think it political. It's not. It's a factual thing that feels like our climate is just out of sorts. I think our climate might be out of sorts, right? So I'm not trying to say anything to ruffle your feathers, but it's not hard to look at temperatures, extreme temperatures, record-breaking temperatures, record-breaking rainfalls, record-breaking gusts of winds, or any other thing that shows that we're experiencing things right now that are kind of abnormal. So it's scary And it's hard to talk about because everybody wants to start pointing fingers, or you want to just deny. Because if you talk about it, then you're admitting it's happening. So I think that people who live in the cities probably don't experience weather. They don't recognize changes in weather the way folks who live in the country do. All right. What I mean by that is if your life routine is to wake up and go to the garage, get in the car, drive to work from or drop off the kids and you're back and forth and you're indoors, you may not notice extreme weather changes as much as somebody who watches pastures and watches rivers, and watches creeks and all of the things. So I say, based on my lifetime, you could almost always guarantee that you would have about 5 days or so below freezing. Seldom would it get down into the teens. Never, ever, ever get to the single digits here. Never, ever, never. Maybe snow, maybe once every 10 years. Maybe. And of course, like I said, my entire lifetime that I lived in Plum Grove, it never flooded and covered the hill. And then all of a sudden, we've had 3 or 4 or 5 floods that covered every inch since 2017. So, you know what? I'm just one guy, and that's just my opinion that there's some changes in the weather. But for the lady who just now said it was 71 degrees in Colorado, that's a record that's been there for well over 100 years. I bet you there's a lot of folks who are a lot warmer today in different parts of the country saying, this ain't normal. I like it. I'm not complaining, but it's not normal. Jamie says that it's going to drop down to 17 degrees once she leaves and comes back home. I'm like, and you're leaving just in time. Because you do not want to have that RV in 17 degrees, I don't think. Britt, don't worry. We're just talking about weather. It's old people talk. Young people don't talk about the weather. That's just old people talk about the weather. I'm going to be honest. I am so ready to drink this. But are y'all going to be upset with me? Is it going to gross you all out? Am I going to completely gross you out if I take this bowl and just drink it? I was trying not to. I'm just trying to grab anything out of here. But at this point, I'm just grabbing this. I just want to drink it. And by all means, I will do it off camera if you tell me to. You're saying go for it, probably just to be kind. In reality, I don't want to gross you out. I don't want you to think differently about me, okay? Please don't think differently about me because I'm going to chug this down. I will say that I would not do this in most restaurants. And I would never let my kids do this either. So I know what's kosher, and I know that what I'm about to do is not what I would ever want to see anyone doing in a restaurant, okay? But I am home having dinner with you all. Christmas dinner. All right? Just forgive me. Just forgive me. Here it goes. Oh, it's good. So good. So good. My mom was really good at teaching all of us kids to be polite and how to have manners and all of the things that she's, taught us, the life lessons that stay with us even as we get older. This is so very good. No, I'm not going to say it's not delicious. It's really good. Does it compare to a couple of the places that I ate? No. Is it better than some of the places that I ate in Louisiana? Absolutely. So I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, here we go. I got a better idea. Let's only talk about Livingston. This gumbo is better than Shrimp Boat Manny's. This gumbo is not as good as the Indian Casino. So it's right there in the middle. So just from the places that we've been together here in the town of Livingston, it's not as good as the Indian Casino, but it is better than Shrimp Boat Manny's. All right. Okay. So Vicky's like, oh, hold on. Where'd this gumbo come from? Fire Chief Chris. Good guy. And he knew that I was going to be alone for Christmas. So he absolutely, we're going to delete that entire, we're going to go ahead and remove that. So guys, let's just keep our comments polite and try to stay focused on the subject at hand, okay? So hold on. Barbara goes, Lester, as much as you love gumbo, you need to make your own. It's not hard. Actually, it's pretty hard. So now here's what you could do. If you could somehow buy the roux, and then just mix the ingredients, I would agree. That could be easy. Florida native. Yes, we can see you, sweet lady. What are you worried about? Someone blocked you? Fire Chief Chris made this. I'm going back in, guys. I'm going back in. Oh, it's so good. I'm going to say this, and I'm actually trying to avoid the topic. I've seen the comments and I'm just trying to avoid it. I don't go to a lot of family events. However, I spend individual time with all of my family as often as I can. So it should not be a surprise that I'm not at the Morrow family event. I just I spend time with my mom and dad both yesterday and today. So, but I did not choose to go to the big event, and that's my own personal preferences. That's just my personal preference. And then I would be a fool. To come on here and give specifics of some of the drama. Thank you, Fire Chief Chris. That's delicious. Today, an example. That was very good. Thank y'all for allowing me to eat in front of you all. I not only did we make dessert, but now we've also had dinner together today. So we've been together for a bit today, haven't we? Sometimes you say things and you don't mean to hurt people's feelings, but when people get their feelings hurt, they can hold on to things for a long time. And I've discovered that it's sometimes easier to remove yourself from a stressful situation than to put yourself somewhere knowing that there's going to be an uneasiness. Okay. So I'll just say it that way. That was crystal clear without me saying any names. It's real simple. And every one of you have experienced this. Every one of you have experienced this in some form or fashion, either at work or at school or at home or at church or somewhere, that sometimes it's easier to avoid putting yourself into stressful situations if you know that it's going to create an uneasy feeling, either for you or for somebody else. Okay. And I will. Hey, kitty cats, do y'all mind? We have cats that are fighting all around the house. And so, with just like with every family, especially extended family, you have drama. There's always drama. And what I've learned is to avoid the drama, to avoid the gatherings. And guess what? I do. I avoid the gatherings. But like I said, I love and I hang out and I spend time with every member of my family on an individual basis as often as I can. Every one of them. But when you get to a group, there's some kind of a little clicky thing that happens. And you could be ignored. You could be shunned. You could just kind of not feel welcomed. And so there's no one here feeling sorry for themselves. I'm answering the question that you guys should know by now because we have talked about this so many times. I make a choice not to go to a lot of big family events. And it's not because I'm mad at somebody. I'm not mad at anybody. There is nobody that I'm mad at. Nobody in my family or out of my family. But I will say that if you show up, you're going to get sucked into the latest gossip. You're going to be privy to the things that you probably didn't need to hear. And I just do better without the drama. And that's just my choice, guys. That's a choice that I make. And so I'm not sitting home alone. I have animals here and at the other property that I'm taking care of that I've had a really productive day, believe it or not. So I've spoken to several of my family members and spent time with mom and dad. Yesterday, I spent time with Jake. Yesterday, I spent time with Bennett, and there's nobody I'm ignoring. I've texted and chit chatted with almost everybody today. So let's not create drama here either. Okay, let's just not. Who cares? Who cares? And so I know you'll have a chance to watch all of the family's videos and see all that everybody was up to. And you've also had a chance to see what I'm up to. We had pudding this morning and we had gumbo just now. How about that? And then, and like I said, I'm here because I feel like, well, Mr. David and Miss Pat messaged and told us how bad the fireworks were tonight. And so I rushed over just to make sure that I let the dogs come inside the house. We didn't want the dogs to get scared and run off. You know what happened last year with Sadie. So I got the dogs inside the house. All of the cats who wanted to come inside are here in the house as well. Guys, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to look around and see how many cats are in here. Look at that one over there cleaning himself. Look at that. Hey, ranch hand. That's the ranch hand. Ranch hand. Ranch hand. I don't think he even cares that we're watching him. Her. Do y'all remember the first day that I met the ranch hand? Yeah, we were leaving the JL Ranch, and I saw this kitty cat over there between the pastor's house and myself. Surprised I even saw that. But I walked over, and that cat was a wild one. Just a kitten at the time, but it was a wild one. So I had to pull off my shirt and threw my shirt over her face so she wouldn't bite me, and picked her up and held her through my shirt to avoid scratches and bites. I got her back to the truck, and as I was driving home, trying to calm her down a little bit, she ended up sneaking out of my shirt and she went down to my floorboard. And then she ended up getting stuck under my dash, the dash of my truck. And so I got home and could not get her out of there for anything. Ranch Hand, just come over here. Ranch Hand. Oh, she's just so busy cleaning herself right now. But I had to have Jamie come out, and we worked on trying to get her out of from under the dash of the truck. And so at some point, we got hold of her and pulled her out. And she's been just the best cat, guys. She's been so good. And she's actually one of my favorites too. Now, I think that probably of all the cats, Mabel is my favorite of all. I love Mabel. But I don't know. When I'm out and about, White Kitty's really sweet. Now, I think that you all know how much of a bond I have with Shadow over at the other property. Shadow is just something else. Shadow's really, really fun. And he loves me. My goodness, he loves me. That's great. I am so happy to see that you guys have had such a wonderful Christmas. For those who are telling us about your Christmas, so wonderful. Thank you, Brown Eyes. You have a wonderful dinner. Brown Eyes is off to eat dinner right now. Oh, Vanessa is going to actually put the link to the Ranch Hand video towards the end of this live. Now, remember, guys, I have told all of the moderators, well, there's Miss Keisha. Hey, Miss Keisha. I says, guys, y'all just take the day off. You don't have to work all the time. But some of these ladies just like to work, y'all. They just like to work. So I'm not going to tell them no, but they don't have to do it. Wow. Well, I'm happy to hear that, Rosie. Rosie goes, you made my Christmas merrier. Thank you. Oh, well, guys, I'm not going to keep you. I wanted you guys to be a part of Fire Chief Chris's video. And I say his video, his gumbo that I told him, I said, but I'm going to go home and I'm going to go live. I'm going to go live and eat my dinner in front of a live audience. And I'm going to eat your gumbo. And I want to let everybody know how it is. I'm so sorry, Miss Bell, that you've been sick. Launa Bell has been sick. And so now you've all had a chance to experience Fire Chief Chris gumbo. Tomorrow, I do believe that Jamie's going to try to start heading back tomorrow. Y'all hear that? You hear the door creaking open? I do think that Jamie's going to start heading back tomorrow, and that'll be good. We're excited to get her back home. And then I'll be honest, I'm getting tired. I'm starting to get tired. Not like sleepy tired, but I feel that I'm just getting tired of the running. And then, of course, driving to Plum Grove 2 days in a row. I'm getting myself tired. And once you start letting yourself kind of feel tired, you probably start looking tired, you start acting tired. And I'm just ready to get back to the routine of things, you know. I'm ready to get back to my bedtime. I'm ready to get back to my wake up time. Did the catio? No, Megan, it was delivered. I do have it, but I did not build it. That is, the catios are not easy to put together, but I will get on that tomorrow. Or if I'm lucky, maybe little Chris wants to come over and work on it. He needs hours. He didn't work at all the week that we were gone to well, he just did the feed up, but there's no hours in that. And so he has to get between 8 and 10 hours a week. So he didn't earn much time. And then last week I had him do, what day was that he come and did? No, he started on Monday. He didn't do anything last week. There was no work at all last week. And then this week he come by and spent a couple of hours putting together that fence. I hope you guys saw that video. So he needs hours, and he's trying to get on while he's not in school. So that would be wonderful. But little Chris did a great job on the fence. And did you guys happen to watch long enough into the video to see that he actually did things that I had taught him, especially with the screwy little friend? If you guys know what I'm talking about, it's a compliment in a way to see that you've taught somebody something, and even when you're not there with them, you notice that they still do it. And so I taught him how to hang those panels when you're by yourself. And if lo and behold, when I didn't come by to look, making my video of the finished product, if I didn't see where he put those little screws in there to give himself a helping hand with the screwy little friend, and that was just really, really sweet that he did that. But he did a really good job. Now, I'll tell you something funny that he asked me. All right. Now you're not, this is funny because he's little Chris. Okay. And I'm not making fun. This is one thing that is really, really hard with the internet. You always assume, and I'm only guessing because many of you have been bullied. We'll just say bullied most of your life. And I'm so sorry that you've gone through that. But it makes it hard for me to even tell stories, because when I tell stories, and right now we're talking about little Chris, for example, I'm not bullying little Chris, and I'm not saying anything derogatory. This is funny to me. But, little Chris gets paid by the hour, but he's also been around a few times when Randall has come by. And Randall does not get paid by the hour. Randall owns a company, a business, an LLC. So Randall gets paid by the job, right? And so I think that Chris has been there enough times watching Randall work. And then also the times that we've had Uriel come by to do a welding job or to do a job, he also gets paid by the job. These guys don't get paid by the hour. They get paid by the job, right? So it was funny because whenever little Chris finished the fence, I wasn't there when he finished, but he sent me a text. And when I opened the text, he said, "Hey, Mr. Lester," he's very polite. He goes, "Hey, Mr. Lester, I'm all done with the fence." And then he sent me some pictures. And I says, "Chris, that looks really, really good." I'm like, "I can't wait to see it when I get over there later." Okay. Now, at that point, I thought we were done. You ready for some over here? I see that someone's typing. You know, when you see those little bubbles? So I don't know if you have this or not on your phone, but on my phone, when someone's typing, you see little bubbles pop up. And those bubbles means that someone's typing. And all of a sudden it went away. And then they were typing again. Then it went away. Then he's typing again. And it went away. And I'm sitting there watching and I'm thinking, what are you going to say? Just say it. Just say it already. And I guess it took him 10 different tries to put it into words. And he finally said, "Am I getting paid by the job, or do I write down the hours?" he wanted to know if I was going to pay him the money that you get paid by the job compared to getting paid by the hours. Now, guys, he just turned 18, okay? He's little Chris, for Christ's sake. And I guess that he thought since he did like a start to finish job, that maybe I'd pay him by the job. But I says, no, Chris. I says, you work by the hour. Now, before you get mean to me, don't forget that I pay him $25 an hour. I've always felt that if we're blessed to have the money, then I don't mind paying him, or not just him, but I've always paid my farm helpers $25 an hour. That's how it's always been. And I know that some months when we don't have the money, then I'll cut back hours on people. But if we have the money, then I don't mind helping and paying those blessings forward. And I agree, Kelly. I think that's darn good money. But I'll tell you something. You can sometimes get yourself a little bit, I don't want to say spoiled. Yes, I do. I pay Ben the same dollar amount. Ben also gets $25 an hour. When Jake worked for me, he got $25 an hour. And so I've always paid my farm helpers $25 an hour. And it's always been more than minimum wage. But I also know that there's a lot of responsibilities in this work. And so obviously, I feel like if you're going to be out there and you're going to have a lot of responsibilities, it's going to be hot, it's going to be cold, it's going to be windy, it's going to be rainy, but farm work has to get done. It has to get done. And so but no, he worked for those few hours and he just wanted to find out, was I going to pay him by the job? I don't know what he would have expected. That's kind of funny. But, I've told this story before, and I know that people get mad when I talk about it, and I don't know why it makes it to where you try to censor what I say. But there's no shame in what I'm about to tell you. But people like to get mad when I tell the stories. But when we used to employ Uriel, you all know Uriel, hard worker, but we also paid him $25 an hour, and which is wonderful, good money. And then he would help out doing odd and end jobs, and pretty much I could make a list of whatever job needed to be done. And he mostly helped out on the Plum Grove property, right? They're in Plum Grove. We had just moved to Longhorn Lester's, and Ellie had just moved in to the sanctuary. And so Uriel, who was living there in Plum Grove, helping Mr. Leo, is his uncle. And so Uriel would come by mostly on the weekends to do odd and end jobs. And I've always paid everybody $25 an hour. That's just the way it was. Well, there was the Argo at the time. I guess something had gone wrong with the Argo, and maybe the goat or Ellie or somebody had left the battery on, the key turned on, and it had run the battery down. And unfortunately, we had to replace the entire battery. But I told Ellie, I says, hey, just have Uriel look at it. Some of y'all know this story already. I says, have Uriel look at it when he's there, and then I'll send you the money. So sure enough, Uriel came that weekend. I remember that I was over in the hayfield fertilizing. So I looked over and saw Uriel over there working, and it was a hot day, and he was unable to move the Argo from where it was parked. So he was working in the sun. I remember that I thought, man, it must be hot out there because there was no shade whatsoever. He's over there trying to change that battery out. And so whenever he was all done, Ellie told me he was done. And I says, how long did he work? And so LE said, I don't know, like 4 hours, whatever it was. So I sent the money to LE and I says, here, because Uriel doesn't have PayPal and Cash App and all those kind of things. I says, here's the money. Go give him this money. And so LE went out to pay him, but this is where everything went wrong. This is where everything went wrong. Now we were friends and we've made friends since then. But Uriel said that wasn't enough money. And so LE doesn't speak Spanish, but he understood that that was not enough money. And so LE messaged me and says that Uriel said he needs more money. And so I messaged Uriel and I asked him, I says, how many hours did you work? Because I pay by the hour and I always have. But on this particular day, Uriel's reply was, I don't work by the hour anymore. I work by the job. Okay. And that's fine, guys. That's fine. That's fine. And I says, you work by the job? I says, I've always paid you by the hour. And he goes, not anymore. Now I work by the job. And so he goes, if I do yard work, I get paid what you pay yard work. He goes, if I do mechanic like today, I get paid what you pay a mechanic. Well, all of a sudden, something in my head snapped. And my response was, when you come over and do yard work, whose lawnmower are you using? And when you come over and do mechanic work, change the blades on the lawnmower or repair the battery on the Argo, I'm like, whose tools are you using? And I should have stopped right there, but I didn't. I went ahead and I went down the entire list of all the things. I says, when you come over and work on the horse's hooves, whose tools do you use? And I went by and reminded him in a very polite way. I think it was polite. I reminded him that people that charge mechanics, they can charge that much because they have their own tools. And lawn services can charge that much because they have their own weed eaters and their own lawnmowers and their own gas cans. And they cannot charge those kinds of prices if they're using all of your stuff. Well, there are some people that don't like to be talked to that way. And I sometimes will say it's kind of a Spanish machismo thing. There's nothing wrong with that. We all have egos. And I don't mean to make it about necessarily a culture of a person, but we all have different egos, right? And I think that I struck a nerve by talking that way and by, I think, embarrassing. And so that was the end of he and I working together. That was the end of us working together until it was, so Jamie was a friend of Uriel's on Facebook. And so it was a while later, and she began to see these pictures of him carrying these bags of shingles. You call them shingles, toting these bags of shingles up this ladder, trying to make ends meet, right? Because he wasn't working all the time with Mr. Leo. So he was just trying to make ends meet. And I thought to myself, she was showing me, she goes, look, this is sad. And I'm like, well, he had it made. Hold on now, guys. I did not purposely demasculate anybody. And I agree. I did have the right to be honest and direct. But here's what happened. He got off somewhere with somebody, and someone tried to unionize him. And I say unionize loosely. I don't know about unions. We don't have a lot of unions here in Texas, I don't think. I think unions is more for up north. I think you guys have unions where you can charge a whole lot more for things because you're a part of a union and you guys stick together. And I think that somebody down here tried to someone unionized him and made him think he could get a lot more money than what he's making right now if he would start charging the right prices for the work that he's doing. And all of a sudden, when he would come over, for example, and if he was going to do the horse's hooves, well, he no longer wanted to get paid, let's just say, a total of $100. Instead, he'd want to get paid $100 per horse because that's what farriers charge. Or he no longer, anyway, so all I did was like, whoa, hold on a minute. You bring your own tools, you bring your own, no, all you bring is the know-how. That all you bring is the know-how. All you bring is the know-how. But we've moved on from that. That was probably 3 years ago. We ended up, I reached out to him at some point, and we offered him some more work. I think it was after the May flood. It was, remember that one flood we had over a year ago? It was in May, I believe, and Plum Grove got hit pretty hard. And so I knew that he was still trying to find work. And so I reached out and I offered him a job. And then to help do some fence repairs and do some things around Plum Grove property. Help take out some of the drywall from the barn dominium, little things like that. And then that's when we ended up talking about the welding and getting him involved in welding. And so now I'm happy to say that now he has a skill. He's learned to weld. We bought him a little tack welder. And so it may have been kind of a rocky start, but now he's been a really big help. He's done a lot of welding jobs for us, and he's pretty good at what he does. All right, pretty good at what he does. So, but and that little girl of his, boy, that little girl is something. She's special. He's in the process of working on that red tractor. Jake's tractor, you guys know, went down. And Uriel has spent a couple of days over here working on that. But I promise you, I'm not paying him by the hour. He's getting paid a set amount of money to try to get this tractor up and going, okay? It would be easier to pay him by the hour. But no. But no, his full-time job is welding, and he stays pretty busy. But I will say this, there are still days when he's not working because there's not a welding job to do. So he still looks for work whenever he can find it in other things. Laura says, I have to hire a handyman to fix everything around there, and they charge $60 an hour. And then she says to mow her lawn, they charge her $85 to mow her lawn. That's quite a bit. Yeah, I mean, that's what I was trying to, but like, once again, Miss Laura, I'm sure when they come by to mow, they bring their own lawn mowers. And that was a difference. Uriel was using my mowers. Megan, why would I hire Uriel to ride a horse? I'm very capable of riding Rita and Prim. I take that as an insult to sweet Megan. I love you, Megan, but I'm insulted. I'm insulted. Rita is my horse, and Prim is doing wonderful. Wonderful. The only reason I would have somebody come over and ride a horse would be to save some time. But I am completely capable. Time is probably our biggest enemy. But, you got to be very careful. And I think that horse people might agree with this. I don't know how many horse people are watching, but horse people might say that this is true. I think that if you sort of have a rhythm and a technique a style of everything from the way you bring your horse in to the way you saddle your horse, the way you mount your horse, the way you try to ride your horse. And I say try because we all know that I'm trying here. And all of the things, it's very important that you try to stick to and be consistent with that. And I do think that every rider might be different. Horse people, I'm asking you, I guess, do you agree that every rider would be different? And there might be things that I would want to have that someone else might. Some things that, so it could be good or bad, I think. But I feel like I want to be the only one who rides my horses. And if you think that's being mean or that's being selfish or that's being whatever, sorry, but it's kind of like my tractor. I don't want someone else on my tractor. I don't. And I don't want someone else driving my truck. I don't. And I don't want someone else on my lawnmower. I don't. And I don't want anyone else on my horses. Now, do I allow it? Like when we had the Meet the Morrows? Yeah. But I did not do that for me. I did that for you. I did that for you. Oh, yeah. Kings says, yeah, because saddle adjustment can be annoying. My God, isn't it though? I just feel like there are some things that I want to do myself, even if I don't really have the time. I just don't trust other people on doing some things that I want to do myself. And then, like I said, when we first started this conversation an hour ago, I said, I know that I could do any job that I hire out for. I can fix fence. I can build new fence. But you know what? There are times, if I'm able to afford it, I don't mind paying Randall to come out because he has the equipment and the tools to make a job that I would be doing with my handheld auger. Randall has the skid steer. And so I'm thinking, you know what? I could absolutely get my auger and drag it out there. You guys watch me this summer building that fence for Jake. I can do all that stuff. I can pull wire. And I'm not bragging, but I'm pretty damn good at it. But if I'm able to hire somebody to do a job so that, because sort of in a way, time is money for me. Time is money. Then guess what? I'll just go ahead and hire somebody if it's something that I don't mind them doing. But so, for example, little Chris can open boxes. He can burn trash. He's learning how to do jobs that are more skill based as far as building the fence and whatnot. But I think that there are some jobs that I'll never hire someone to do as long as I'm able to. If I can still climb up on my tractor, then I'm going to. And as of now, I can still get on my horses and I'm going to. All right. But what I can't do is their hooves. So don't you think I would love it if me and Jamie could get the horses out there every 6 weeks and do our own farrier work? I would love that. I would love that. But we can't. We don't know how. We've never been trained. And I think that their hooves and their footwork is too important to just trust yourself or trust a YouTube video, because you don't want a horse to have hoof issues. So what do? We pay the guy $1,000 to come out and do all the horse's hooves. It's crazy. But I feel like the horse's hooves stay healthy. You've seen them, guys. You see how clean and how pretty their feet are. We don't have a lot of horses walking around with hoof issues. Is it a lot of money? Yeah. But little Ivy's feet are all cleaned and all done. And And so, you know, the same way with the horse dentist or some things, if you just can't do it, you can't do it. So am I just rambling? Have y'all noticed that I'm just rambling away tonight? Well, if you're jumping on late, just know that we went live about an hour ago. And the first thing that we did was we taste tested. Fire Chief Chris made some gumbo. And we had us a taste test from Fire Chief Chris of his gumbo. And I ranked it right there in the middle. Not as good as the Indian Casino, but a lot better than Shrimp Boat Manny's. Okay? So really good job, Fire Chief Chris. And that got us talking about little Chris, his son, who did a pretty big job for me. And guys, I don't know why you're no longer getting notified, but I will say this. Someone told me that on occasion, YouTube does like a clean, they like do like a sweep. And I think they're trying to get rid of imposter pages. Thank God that YouTube does that, because Facebook doesn't. And they get rid of the scammers, they get rid of things. And so in that process, I think that sometimes your notifications go away. So you may have to go to your favorite channels and click that little bell again to make sure that you're notified, because you might notice that, hey, wait, I'm not getting notified. And when you go look, you'll see why, because it has changed up on you. So Keisha goes, yep, that happened to me recently, and I had to go reset all of my notifications. So you guys just be aware of that I think it's a kind of a reset that YouTube will do. So I'm guessing that, so that's why I don't like doing my own fencing. Can y'all see all the scratches on my hands from the barbed wire work? You can't have pretty hands and work on a farm, guys. If you do barbed wiring, you can't have pretty hands. You're going to have all kinds of scrapes and scratches. So Chandra, the rule, you can go 3 times on each channel. You cannot go 4. So if I went, I think that I'm on Longhorn Lester's right now. Uh-oh. I just got a low battery notification. Come on. Guys, I may lose you. Why is my computer not charging? Guys, I have to let you go now. I'm going to lose you if I don't. Thank you so much for watching. I love you. We're very blessed to have you. And I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. It's been a real blessing to have you guys hang out with me for a while. I would hold on to you longer, but for some reason, my charger's not charging my computer, and I don't know why. And I don't want to lose you. Thank y'all for watching. Vanessa posted a video for you guys to go watch with the cat, okay? The way we acquired the ranch hand. Thank y'all so much. I'll see you in the morning, coffee clubbers. We'll see you guys in the morning at 7 a.m. when we do all of our feed up. That was a good kiss, y'all. That was a really good one. Thank y'all for watching, and good night, everybody.